Welcome back, sporting fans, to another spectacular episode of the Paint the Wall podcast. I, as always, am your host, Steve, and I am joined this week by a man that may or may not be wanted by the FBI, but you all know him as Logan.
Yeah, my lawyer advised that I shouldn't talk about that, so next question.
Is he going to be mad at me for saying that right now?
Well, I mean, probably, but,
great.
All
right. Well, yeah, then we should probably move on because I don't want to get sued by your lawyer again. God, the first time. Anyway,
we can cut this in post, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great.
Welcome in, everybody. We're talking today about our 1-1 draw against Houston, of course. Kind of a lackluster game that I thought was going to go a different way than it actually did. Well, I guess I did predict a draw, so it did kind of go how I predicted it would.
Right.
But I don't know, not the game that I thought we were going to get, especially while watching it.
For sure.
They came in with kind of a depleted lineup, so I think you and I both expected to get a win there, to get 3 points. But I think, in hindsight, like they always say, 1 point on the road is always what your overall goal is. So
yeah, absolutely,
it's week 1. We'll take it.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think about it?
I mean, it was concerning, considering it was very lackluster from our side. I mean, when our kind of main starting 11 was on the pitch, the offense looked like nothing. Like our offense didn't look like much until Afrifa and Agata came on, and then later when Vargas came on. Before any of those guys came on, like with our front three, it looked bad. I mean, I think we can both admit that Eric Tommy goal was completely out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't indicative of the run of play. Eric Tommy just ran. Houston never stepped up, and Tommy was like, well, okay, if you're going to make me.
Yeah.
And he ripped it, and then
even the shot kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Like when I watched it, I wasn't expecting him to shoot, and he shot, and I was like, what a terrible, okay, never mind.
Hey, look at that.
It was one of those where it's like we had no right scoring a goal in that moment. We did. We'll take it. It was just strange. And honestly, not really deserved the way the offense performed. But a goal's a goal. So
yeah. Precisely.
Yeah.
I did kind of think, just to counter off one thing you said there, I actually thought Shallowy looked really good in the first half.
I would agree that out of the front three, Shallowy looked the best. Yes.
Yeah, he made some moves. He had one cross that was incredible.
It was pretty.
A great cross, and then he had a shot that was right at the goalkeeper, which is kind of his thing.
Right.
Well, that or 15th row. But still, he took a shot and he was there. I thought he looked really good in the first half.
Yeah, that's fair.
But other than that, I mean, Polito was weak, man. He had bad touches, and he had several opportunities to create something or to try to create something, and just seemed like he couldn't get the right first touch several times. And I don't know. I wasn't super impressed with, and honestly, Johnny, I kind of didn't even realize he was playing until they subbed him out.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, Shallowy definitely looked the best out of the front three. The problem is he can't do it all. And when you don't have anybody else on offense that's doing anything, it makes it really hard for you to be productive. So
yeah, for sure.
That was encouraging to see Shallowy do something, because obviously when we talked about our preseason episode, that was one of the big complaints we had at the beginning of the season was, we had injuries, but the guys that were there weren't performing, and Shallowy was one of them. Like he looked like he forgot how to play soccer.
Yeah, for sure.
So to see him come out and look good is promising. I am confident that Polito will show up. He'll be there. A player of his caliber doesn't just stop performing. So I think he'll be there. Johnny, I think, is the most concerning out of the front three. Johnny, he's getting older. He is a concern for us because he didn't have a stellar season last year, and now coming off of this, it's not ideal. Now, again, I really hope he's going to prove me wrong, because I love Johnny. He's one of my favorite players, has been for forever, but that concerns me a little bit whenever he had a pretty weak season last year and then he shows up this year and does nothing in game one. But it's game one. It's first game of the season. It's really hard to get a gauge from how good the team's going to be.
Yeah, true.
So,
yeah, and plus Johnny has always had games here and there, sometimes stretches of games where he just does nothing. So,
right.
This being the first game, I think there's something to be said about not, I know we talk about sporting fit all the time, and like, I don't think anybody's full fit in the first game.
Right.
I know you have off season and all that kind of stuff, but you're not. It's not it's not a real game that you're playing in the preseason. Excuse me, not off season.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm not super concerned about it, and like I said, it felt like lost points at the end of the game. But really, the more I thought about it, I was like, this team also was in the playoffs last year.
Right.
They beat us, in fact. And they always say a draw on the road is what you go for. A draw on the road, win at home. That's a recipe for success. So I think ultimately, here in a couple weeks, hopefully it doesn't matter. It's not a huge deal. We went in and we did get a point. So
yeah,
that's good. And honestly, I can't really fault. Also, the more I thought about it, like I said at the beginning, Houston was they were big time depleted. And I even text you at the beginning, if we don't win this one, we're in trouble because their lineup was just terrible to start off. They didn't have anybody. They didn't have Hector Herrera. They lost Corey Baird in the offseason. Like, they didn't have anybody. And even towards the beginning of the game, I wrote several times here, like, not having Corey Baird or Hector Herrera seemed to be affecting them. They were lacking on the attack a lot. They didn't have a finisher. I even put no finisher is why this game is not 1-0 16 minutes in.
Right, exactly.
Like they should have scored early on a couple balls that got played in, and they just didn't have somebody there to finish it.
Yep.
And that was kind of frustrating that we weren't able to take advantage of that. It did almost kind of seem like we were trying to just like sit back and let them tire themselves out because they don't really have a bench and we do. And I do kind of think that's what happened.
Right. I agree.
Because you can even see, like, with our subs towards the end, it was like, okay, it's time to sub, and everybody. Like, we were just, ready, go.
Yeah.
So,
and listen, credit to where credit's due. For what I think might be the first time I've ever seen Peter Vermees do it, he emptied the bench. He used all 5 of his subs.
Yep.
So that was encouraging to see, is that not only do we put on subs, we put on offensive-minded subs. Every one of the subs, with the exception of Basong on for Leibold, were offensive-minded. That was encouraging to see because that's not something we've really had the luxury of in the past. Again, it just comes down to that final third. That's been a weakness of Sporting for a long time, is just clinical finishing in the final third. And we just didn't seem to have it. So that's where my concern comes. I agree. First game of the season, you have no idea what you're going to get. None of this in the end of the day, none of this like super duper matters. Like, we got the point. We did what we needed to do. You said it perfectly. A point on the road is a point on the road. That's you're going to win. You're going to win the West if you can get a point on the road and win your home games. You'll do just fine.
Yeah, especially a point on the road against these kind of teams, like good teams.
100%. I think the big key there is, in a vacuum, that point is great. In the game, it really felt like we gave up 2 points.
Yeah, it felt like we should have been able to score, but again, like we've been saying at the same time, it's the first game of the season, so we should only be expecting so much. And the fact that Polito had a couple bad first touches, it's the first game of the season. You kind of gotta. Now I still hesitate a little, and I stopped short just a little because we had this exact same conversation first game last season, and it was first game of the season. Like, we'll figure it out, and then it was fifth game of the season. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
and then it was seventh game of the season. We really need to figure something out.
Right.
So,
for sure.
But this at least was a draw. It seemed like we played pretty good. We played decently as a team.
I agree.
Let's see, I don't think I have anything else from the first half really. They scored and it got called offsides, which was I had to watch that replay, and actually my dad kind of helped explain it to me why he was offsides before I understood.
It was a confusing one for sure.
Yeah, because it wasn't the goal scorer that was offsides.
Mm-mm.
So that's what made it so confusing to me.
It was in the buildup of play.
Yeah, but it was such a long buildup that it was like the first replay they showed the guy that was offsides, and then they showed like probably 2 minutes, not a full 2 minutes. It was probably 45 seconds of gameplay that did not end in the goal, and then the highlight stopped. So I was just like, how is it? How is this the buildup if the goal doesn't happen? I'm so confused. But the more I watched it, I was like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. So, bummer, but for them, not for us. But
it worked out well.
Right at the beginning of halftime, the announcers, which I had several problems with the announcers, with the guy announcer, the girl, the same one from last year that I loved, the one from Minnesota. She used to be paired with the Irish dude.
Yes.
Apparently she's not paired with him anymore, which is a shame.
Yeah, it is.
But the funniest one, I tried to type it out so I could say it right, but now I think I'm going to do it wrong. But he pronounced Radoja as Radaya.
Yeah.
And like that I thought was hilarious.
I'm like, I can understand getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Because we got it wrong from the beginning. But how do you get it wrong that way?
Yeah.
That was so confusing.
I'm like, Radaya. That doesn't look like Radaya at all. But he also had said something about, like right after Eric Tommy scored, like Eric Tommy's going to be really important this year, and that he really wasn't a factor last year, so he really needs to step up his game this year. And I know our friend from No Other Pod, Jimmy Mack, shared that one, and he was like, Eric Tommy played in 32 of 34 games last year. Right. I don't know how you could possibly say that he wasn't. Like, yeah, he didn't score a bunch or anything like that, but like, how do you say he wasn't a factor in our team?
I have no idea.
So I don't know. It's just more perfect examples of them not really doing any research before, before we play him. But
I would love to hear your thoughts on our new guys.
Yeah, that was going to be one of the things I definitely wanted to talk about because, believe it or not, I got all of those right.
Yeah.
Now, whether this happens, whether I end up in our preseason episode when we were talking about our forwards and I was talking about these guys coming in at the front line and all that stuff, I did not expect for the first line for all three of them to come in and for us to have Agata, Afrifa, and Vargas come in.
Right.
But that happened, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I am going to be right.
Maybe.
We'll see how it happens the rest of the year. This could have just been a first game kind of thing, but
maybe.
I thought they looked great. I was particularly impressed with Afrifa.
Agreed.
I really liked it. He was pushing. He was trying. He didn't get a lot of time, so he couldn't really do a whole lot. But But man, he was pushing, and I like that. Agata did what Agata always does.
Right.
He didn't really get any touches or the ball fed to him.
Right.
But like we talked about in the preseason, he's different from Polito in that he is going to stay at the top of the box or at the fifth or at the midline and wait for you to feed him the ball, and then he's going to try to score. That's what he's going to do. We know that. So it just is what it is. He just didn't get the ball fed to him this time.
Yeah.
I
was honestly, Memo was one of my favorites. I thought Memo looked really good.
Yep. I did like Memo coming in. He looked good. So did Basong, for that matter. That Basong sub needed to happen
solid
because Leibold got smoked on their goal.
Yeah.
He made a couple mistakes, one that led to the goal, so I was not surprised to see that sub come in.
For sure. And considering how well Basong performed, we very well might be seeing Basong a lot more than Leibold.
Yeah.
Again, game one, it's very different.
Sure.
But that back three with the center backs and right back looks solid. Honestly, Fontas and Rosero did a great job.
They sure did, especially Rosero, honestly.
Yeah. No, they looked great. Surprisingly enough, though, Leibold was the issue. And that's not something we've said a lot of. Like, we've made the comment many times that we don't say his name that often, but that's a good thing. He's just kind of always done the job. He's done it really well. We've never had to say anything about him. But you could tell the preseason was not. He didn't get enough work in the preseason. So,
Yeah, I thought, I guess 2 points to what you were saying with Rosero first. I have 3 notes on Rosero. The first one is like my 4th note down from the beginning of the game.
Okay.
I put nice to see that Rosero is back to trying to give the ball away as many times as he can.
Yeah.
And then probably 6 notes later, I put Rosero with some good 1v1 defense and saving a point-blank shot.
Yep.
And then one of my last notes, I put Rosero has been excellent since I typed my first note. So he at the very beginning, he seemed to like really want to turn the ball over for some reason.
Yeah.
But then he quit doing that. Then he kind of stepped up, made a couple pretty big plays, and then from then on, he was just excellent. He had a great game.
I completely agree.
Fontes was great as well, like you said. I actually thought Jake Davis probably the first 20 minutes looked weak. He looked.
Yeah.
I was not happy with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then between that after that 20 minutes to about 10 minutes into halftime, our whole back four were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes into the second half, I'm sorry. And then Leibold started playing not very well. So
yeah,
we got about 30 minutes of pretty good back four play.
Right.
Play from our back four. I should probably word it that way so we don't get clipped and put on TikTok. Yeah, forget it. Clip it. Put it on TikTok. I don't care. Yeah, but I don't know. Leibold, and to be fair, this could never happen again the rest of the season. You know, we are also playing, I say this all the time, we are also playing MLS teams.
Right.
So, like, just because a defender gets beat once or gets outworked or something like that does not mean it's going to be an overall problem. You know, last year with Rosero, the problem was it happened a lot till the postseason. This could be the only time Leibold gets beat, and it never ends up being a problem. It just sucks that we only have one game to talk about, and he got beat, and they scored, and it ended up being a draw because of it. So,
I mean, soccer is very harsh in the sense of you can make a single mistake and it costs your team the game, costs your team the season, costs your team a playoff run. Soccer can be very, very cruel in that aspect. So, I mean, yeah, he made one mistake that cost the goal, that cost us 2 points. But you made that one mistake that cost us 2 points. So you're going to get harped on. Sorry.
Yeah. And it was towards the end of the game that he started to wear down, and it's probably because he was he's just tired. It's the first game. He was tired. You know, I guess maybe in hindsight the sub could have come a little bit earlier, but at the same time, I mean, would we really even want it to come that much earlier? What time did he even get subbed in?
No.
Look this up.
He got subbed
See if I can find it quickly.
I bet I can find it first.
Yeah, you probably can.
He got subbed on the 76th minute.
Okay, yeah. So maybe he needs to be subbed in sooner. When was the goal? It was pretty.
It was 69th minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was pretty much right after. Not like right after, but pretty much.
One thing that I do find interesting is that MLS.com or MLSsoccer.com is showing that in the 74th minute, Eric Tommy got subbed off for Felipe Hernandez.
So weirdly enough, I did not see that, but I was pretty sure it was Felipe Hernandez coming into the game.
And then they changed it
until it was all of a sudden Memo. So now that makes me wonder because I'm almost dead certain that they showed Felipe at the midline. I could have swore because I saw it very quickly and I just looked up and I was like, Felipe's coming in, and then it was Memo and I was like, wait a minute, what?
So they do look decently similar, especially from the back.
Okay, fair enough.
They do have very similar haircuts and complexion, and they
do kind of look.
They are kind of similar looking. Okay. I'm trying to toe the line here.
Sure.
They look similar, especially if you're catching a glance.
Yeah.
I just think it's strange that they didn't fix it.
Yeah, no, that is definitely weird, but I don't know. I guess just to their credit, I also thought it was Felipe until because Felipe's number 21. I'm even pretty sure the jersey said 21, but I saw it so quickly that maybe they just showed him on the side. Maybe he was going to sub in and then Peter pulled him back.
Maybe.
Who knows? I'd have to go back and rewatch it, but
yeah. But anyway, aside from the point.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so back to the song. I mean, maybe we could have pulled Leibold a little bit earlier, but honestly, I don't think we saw a lot in it until it was too late.
Yeah.
So
true. I agree. I don't think I have any other real stuff. Oh, we did have. I've never seen a ref substitution before.
I have seen him a couple times, but not. It was so random.
Yeah.
Normally, it's like a player collides with a ref.
Yeah.
And normally, you see the center ref come off, linesman come on, and fourth official takes the linesman place, etc.
Yeah.
The fact that it was so out of nowhere was what was so strange.
Yeah, they did say the announcers had said something about they thought they had seen that linesman limping not that long ago. And then I did hear later they confirmed it was a hamstring.
Right.
That he had tweaked his hamstring. But I just thought it was so funny that they did the substitution from the midline like you would sub a player.
Yeah.
They did the whole thing. And I'm just like, I just think it'd be so much easier to just have the fourth official walk around the outside, and then when there's a stoppage in play, you just switch real quick. Like, why would you need to stop the game? But I guess it's more official that way, and it works better that way.
Yeah, I think there is like a I can't think of the right word, but there is a bit of decorum to follow here to make sure that they're following the right process. Because I mean, it's, and also the other side is I could see just because they weren't pro certified ref, or they weren't. Sorry, they were pro certified because they're not standard MLS referees. It could have been a little bit different.
Yeah,
they may have just not known what to do in that situation. So they're like, I don't just sub on like a player. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's fair.
But
all right. Well, if you don't have anything else,
nope.
Let's move on to our MVP.
Let's do it.
Go ahead and hit me with the same MVP and MVP that I probably have.
I'm actually gonna make it a little bit easier so you can have somebody different. I'm gonna go with Memo.
Interesting.
I liked Memo a lot. He had really good flashes. He looked really good. He looked very interesting. It made me very excited about the potential he could bring to this midfield. He is going to be a very good option to have on the bench. And maybe even start whenever we need a little bit of extra offensive performance, or start in lieu of Eric Tommy. So, I don't know. It's not the smartest choice, and I don't really have great criteria or explanation for why, but I'm giving it to Memo just because.
And he only played like 7 minutes, so
it was more than 7. It was 16.
Oh, all right.
Listen. I'm doing it so you can pick the obvious choice.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, seamless transition to my MVP, speaking of Eric Tommy. I mean, he scored the goal, and the offense really kind of ran through him. At
100%.
the beginning, it was kind of running through Shallowy, but then once Shallowy kind of fell off, it was running through Eric Tommy. So,
right.
A definitely obvious pick there for me.
No, and 100% the MVP is Eric Tommy.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just being different.
Yeah, for sure. I did have an honorable mention for Rosero because he really was good on the day. And we hated on him a lot last year, so
we did.
We need to give him a little bit of love
for sure.
I also was considering Shallowy. He was my pick for the first half, but then the second half happened. He did nothing and then got subbed out. So even if he hadn't scored and Eric was the one that scored, if he had just kept doing things, then maybe. But alas, here we are.
We are.
So
that's fair.
All right, MVP, not valuable player.
Libeled.
Oh, okay. So we don't have the same one.
What'd you pick?
Polito is my pick.
Yeah, 100%. Sure.
Yours is right. Yours is fair though. Leibold is absolutely another no-brainer pick. But Polito is just frustrating for me. A lot of bad first touches. We've talked about it already. Several missed opportunities. I don't have any reason to believe that is the Polito we get this year.
Right, 100%.
Just this game, he just didn't have the best touches. It happens.
No. You have an off night. It's the first game of the season. I have absolutely no reason to believe that a player of that caliber will not show up and do just fine.
Agreed.
So,
all right, let's go around the league. Why don't you take us around? Tell us about a few other games that you that tickled your fancy.
Let's do it. So we had Miami and RSL hosting, kicking off the season. Miami coasting to the 2-0 win there. We had DC United with playing New England Revolution. DC United taking the 3-1 win. They're looking pretty good while doing it. We had FC Dallas and San Jose playing to a 2-1 win for Dallas there. St. Louis and RSL tying 1-1. And then Portland putting a beat down on Colorado in Colorado. Nope. In Portland? Providence Park. Portland.
Yeah, that's not it's Dick's Sporting Good Park here in Colorado.
Park, that's right. Anyway, Portland putting the beat down on Colorado 4-1, showing that it's going to be another long season in Colorado.
Yeah.
And then for those of you who watched all the Sunday games, you got treated to 3 draws and only 2 goals between all 3 games. So sorry about you.
MLS Sunday is back.
Hey.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Well, let's transition over to everybody's favorite segment.
Oh, the best.
With a quick detour beforehand, because we want to make sure we remind everybody to hit us up on Twitter, PTW_pod, Facebook, Paint the Wall Podcast, and new this year, to those of you who can't see me pointing at the camera right now yet, over on YouTube at PTW_pod, you can watch these now because sometimes people want to do that, you know?
Sometimes.
Sometimes they do. I will say, last time I checked, we had 28 views on YouTube. So
I think YouTube outperformed all of our podcast platforms. So
incredible. And honestly, I love it. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I like when I actually got several texts this week.
Really?
From different people. Yeah, I had some reactions and some feedback from people. A lot of it was from my dad, but still, he still reached out and gave us some feedback and stuff like that. We always appreciate that. Yeah, 30 views on YouTube. Our podcast last time I checked was at like 20. 38. Wow. Okay.
Oh, we exploded.
So,
look at us go.
Picked up. Look at that go. Awesome. We love that.
Before we go into Good, Bad, and Ugly, I do want to put my wife on blast real quick.
Is this a Logan segue? We don't get those very often.
Do you want to know what my wife asked me in the car the other day?
Yes, I do.
She asked me, and this was 2 days ago.
Okay.
She says, "So what do you think about promotion and relegation coming to MLS?" And I was like, well, do I know you don't listen to the podcast?
Yeah, right?
Thanks
That's funny.
for that.
So you just didn't respond, picked up your phone, and quickly sent her a link and said, there you go. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
So,
I got a text
anyway.
from I got a text from a friend of the show. He's been on an episode, our buddy Wade. After the game on Saturday, he texted me and said, what do you think about this game? And I said, I think I have a podcast where I'm going to tell you exactly what I think of this game. But I love you, so here you go. Here's what I think of it. But it's always fun. It's always good. Wade is always one of the ones that will text me, and it's like he does it on purpose. It's uncannily whatever we talk about in the podcast is what he will ask me about. And
Yeah.
I'm like, if only there was another way for you to get those answers. But he is also a listener, though. He does always listen to the podcast. So credit where
he
it's
is an
due.
avid listener. Yes.
All right. Well, let's move in to Good, Bad, and Ugly. Logan, hit us with your
Do it. My good. I'm going to bring us back to that DC United New England Revolution game. We had our first hat trick of the season. Congratulations to Christian Benteke, I think is how it's pronounced.
Yeah, we'll count it.
Congratulations to him, first hat trick of the season. I don't know how it is in his career, if he's ever done it before or whatever, but hat trick for him, that's impressive. It's a little bit easier whenever you go down to, or whenever you're playing against a team that's 10 men for 65, 75 minutes of the game, but, it's still impressive. So, Christian Benteke, congratulations.
Awesome. My good just changed. Literally right now. And it is not because you Creed Humphrey'd me.
Oh,
That is not why. Mine is because my ESPN feed updated.
Uh-oh.
And I forgot it. It's not breaking news though, unfortunately. So
dang.
I saw you immediately go over. You're like, what is it? It's not breaking news. I just didn't see this yet. Well, no, I had heard that something. Anyway, Minnesota has a new manager.
Oh, yes, they do.
That I had heard, but I never looked into who it was, and it just showed up, and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. Minnesota Inc.'s Manchester United assistant Ramsey as their head coach, Eric Ramsey. They put on Monday. You and I, being Manchester United fans, yes, this year too. That's kind of cool. So hopefully he can pull some stuff from the Premier League over to help out Minnesota. have a love-hate relationship with Minnesota United. I grew up
Right.
in Minnesota, but they are in the same conference as us,
They are.
and we always play them on D-Day. Why do they do that?
I don't know. It does happen a lot.
So, but I'm going to give that my good. My original good
Okay.
was that we drew on the road in week 1.
Yeah.
But I'm going to switch it, and I'm going to give the good to Manchester United assistant Eric Ramsey, who is now head coach of Minnesota United.
Congratulations.
And
Congratulations, Eric.
avid watcher of the podcast. He loved it.
For sure.
All right, go ahead. Hit us with your bad.
My bad is going to go to actually the exact same match of DC United and New England Revolution. I'm not going to try to pronounce the first name because it's Italian, and I'm like even looking at the pronunciation guide, it's terrible. But Veroni, dude,
yeah.
2 yellow cards in less than 25 minutes, and what are you doing?
Yeah, it's
Play
impressive.
smarter. It's week
Right.
1. What are you doing? Like, I don't know. Anyway, that's my bad. It was dumb.
Love it. My bad originally originally was the same as my good, but I changed my good. But my bad is that we drew on the road in week 1. So that was my good and my bad, because it was like,
Okay.
it's good that we got the point.
Right.
But from a perspective of, man, we really could have won that game. That was my bad. It felt like some drop points.
Yeah.
But again, hopefully not going to matter. 3
Right.
weeks from now, we're going to be happy with the draw. So
Here's hoping.
hit us with your ugly. Seymour.
My ugly. Okay, listen, just me and you guys for a second. In Colorado, what are you doing?
Yeah, those jerseys are bad. I don't. Oh, you're not talking about.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's week 1. How do you lose 4-1 on week 1?
Yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry, but Colorado fans, it's going to be another bad season.
Yeah.
So buckle up, get ready to take the spoon back, and I don't know, take up rugby. We're getting some new rugby sport thing that's coming to America that's going to be on Fox. Find out what
Sweet.
that's about.
Yeah. See, and I'm the one that has to live here, and let me tell you, no one cares about the Rapids. I never get asked about the Rapids. My
Right.
office is in Colorado Springs. I get asked about the Switchbacks, which is a
Right.
USL team. I get asked about them far more than I get asked about the Rapids.
Sure.
I don't know too many people that care too much about the Rapids here. I'm sure they're there. They weren't at the game that you and I went to.
No, they
but
were
I'm
not.
sure there's fans out there. I don't know.
All right. Hit me with your ugly.
My ugly is going to be the replacement officials, specifically in the Miami LA Galaxy game.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, that game was poorly officiated.
I thought you were going to complain about the ones we had in our match, and I was like, I thought they did a good job.
No,
But yeah.
I actually thought they did a good job, and then it really kind of made me think maybe that they wouldn't be too terrible. And we wouldn't have too many issues. But then just literally the next day, we had the
Right.
dumpster fire that was Galaxy and Inter Miami.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, just ugh. So that's going to be my ugly, is the
Right.
replacement officials. In that game specifically, I still have just as much hope and faith in them as I do our normal refs. So
We'll
we'll just see what happens, I guess.
Listen, all refs are what they are. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really buy into like replacement refs are the worst. Like, I never buy into that stuff because it's like, listen, these guys
Still
like
got there.
they're still like they're just the level below. They just haven't gotten their chance to break in yet because it's
Right.
really hard to break into pro refereeing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cut them some slack. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Or it's not that big of a jump for them to make. Like, they're reffing like MLS 2 games or USL games or like NCAA League 1 or Division 1 games. Like, they're reffing high-end games.
Yeah.
They're just not reffing MLS games. And so I don't buy into it that much. But yeah, they were pretty bad in that game for sure.
Well,
So-
what can you do?
What can you do?
All right. Let's preview next week, and we'll get these people out of here. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Home opener.
Whoo!
Home opener in Kansas City. I am excited. I will be there. You and I are going to the game.
We are.
Haven't decided if we're doing any press stuff or interviews after the game. So if we do, it'll be on the podcast next week. If we don't, well, it won't because we won't have done it.
Right.
I'm excited for a lot of things. Haven't been to a game in a while. I only made it to, 2 last year? Something like that?
Yeah, 1 or 2.
Yeah, so excited to be out there for this one. I am excited. I have one particular thing that I'm excited to see.
Ooh, what's that?
And I know you're prepared to talk about it too. I personally can't wait to see the $6 million that we spent on new LED lights and screens instead of a center back. I'm really excited to see what we actually spent money on this year.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, that's what I'm excited to see, all that kind of stuff, and see if it was worth it or if it wasn't.
So I do want to talk a little bit about this. We're just going to take a minute.
Sure.
Because with being press, we did get a little bit more details on it. So I did want to highlight the stadium enhancements because there are actually some cool things here.
Cool.
So first of all, we've got the new LED displays, as you discussed.
Mm-hmm.
We have the one that takes the space of the big LED or the big screen where it used to be, and then the second screen is actually above the brew house, which I thought was an interesting place, but I think it could be cool. It is an LED screen, so it's very nice looking. And then there are 2 ribbon boards that have been installed along the seating fascia of the stadium, 5 feet high, 317 feet wide. So lots of screens there. We've got all new LED lighting. So that gives us the ability to have programmable, addressable lighting technology, so we can do the fun stuff like Austin does when they score a goal, which they attach some video renderings of what the lights will look like, and I think they're planning on doing something similar, where they'll have like blue running lights throughout the stadium, stuff like that.
Sure.
We've got new guest screening technology, the Evolve guest screening technology. Where if it's what I think it is, you don't have to walk through like a metal detector. It's just like you just walk and somebody will stop you if you need to get further inspected. So
cool, because the metal detector thing has always been super well polished every time we go.
Yeah, for sure.
Really,
I never
just
know what I'm supposed to do with
stuff
my phone.
in my pockets or stuff out of my pockets, and they're like, it's always out, and I'm like, no, it's not. We were here last week, and they yelled at us for having it in our hands. So,
and then you see that sign right there that says that it's supposed to stay in my pockets, and you're yelling at me to put it in the bowl. Yeah. I don't think you're right.
Exactly.
But anyway,
so cool.
It is what it is. A couple of just small things. We've got a new hot dog cart.
No way.
Yeah.
Is it Nathan's Hot Dogs?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
Well,
it's Dotty Dogs or Dot Dogs or something like that. I don't know.
All right.
But it's going to be hot dog carts.
Nice. Plural? Carts?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
Oh, okay.
We'll see. There are a couple new menu items and an updated menu at the Shield Club for those of you who are rich.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But
so glad that you guys get better food. Awesome.
Right?
We got a hot dog cart, so you know.
Coolest thing though is Sporting is now set to unveil a new self-pouring drink system.
Okay.
That will be
alcohol,
in the.
Of course.
It is alcohol.
Huh.
I think it's going to be one of those where you buy the cup,
and
the cup has like a chip in it. So you can't refill it unless you have the cup there, and you have to I don't know. It has a certain number of refills. I've seen systems similar to it, and it's kind of cool.
Interesting.
But yeah, you can pour your own beers.
That's interesting.
So they will have one in the Shield Club as well as the Budweiser Brew House.
Oh, well, we go in that one, so
we do.
Cool.
So anyway, that's all the new stuff. I did want to talk about it because we do like to shit on the team for not doing new stuff, and credit where credit's due. The lights and the screen, they spent a lot of money on it, but it is going to be cool. I am excited to see it. I think it'll be fun.
I'm only partially kidding. Where I'm like, cool, they spent $6 million on lights instead of a center back. Thanks.
It's understandable.
I'm partially kidding. Part of me is very serious.
Right, for sure.
At the same time, okay. I can't be mad at that and also be a Royals fan and be like, we should definitely get a downtown stadium, even though we only won 56 games last year. I can't be on both sides of that. So maybe it will be cool. It will enhance. I am excited about the LED lights. I went to speaking of Colorado Switchbacks, I went to one of their games when they score. They make the stadium blue, just like Austin does, but it was blue. So I was like, yo, this would be cool if we could do something like this when we score. It's cool that we did that. So huge shout out. No, go ahead.
From the video they showed, it looks like they're going to do like running lights and stuff like that. So
cool.
But
Cool. Well, I just wanted to make sure to give a huge shout out to St. Louis SC fans for inventing all of this so that it's possible for us to have it.
Yeah.
So,
thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Kudos to you guys for inventing the world, apparently.
Yep.
Anyway, to the important part. The LED lights is the important. Well, if we're being honest, the hot dog cart is the important part.
For sure. Yeah, 100%.
So the second most important part, we do play Philadelphia.
We do.
What a crappy game to draw for our home opener. we couldn't have played Colorado at our home opener or Toronto or something. Like, all right.
Would have been nice.
No, we draw Philly. Philly is also 0-1-0, just like we are. They drew against the Chicago Fire. I believe it was 2-2. Anyway, yeah. What do you think? How do we do?
I mean, let's be honest. We're shooting fish in a barrel here. We have no idea. That's not the right analogy. We're shooting blind here. That's the analogy I'm looking for.
That makes more sense because shooting fish in a barrel is allegedly easy.
Yeah, it is.
Unless you're blindfolded.
Right. Anyway, listen, we're all just crapshooting here. We have no idea. They didn't look super impressive in their week 1 start or their week 1 game, but it's week 1. You never know. The only advantage I think we have is they are playing CCL or CCC soccer tonight, I think. Yeah, tonight. So that does help a little bit because they might be a little more tired. I do think we'll get the win being at home. I think they'll be a little less rested. I do think we'll get the win 2-1.
Cool. Well, you stole my score.
Sorry.
You also stole my winner. So I also was going to go with SKC 2-1. I think we are at home. We play better at home. It's the home opener, so it's going to be a good one. I just confirmed the Cauldron, at least, is completely sold out.
Nice.
That is usually a good sign of the rest of the stadium. I assume since it's a home opener, it'll be impressive. So I will graciously change mine. I will go 3-2.
Okay.
Let's get lots of goals. Let's put those LED lights to the test and really find out which ones weren't installed properly and will burn out because it's Kansas City and that's just how it works, you know?
Right.
Something's gonna go out tomorrow. So
for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. But either way, I think it'll be an exciting game. I'm excited to be there. It'll be a good time, you know? Hopefully we can pull out the dub and we can get you on the board here. A quick point update for you. I'm up 1-0 because I did pick the draw last week. I got the score wrong, but I did get the draw right, and you weren't even close.
Right.
So you got their score right, I guess, to be fair.
I did.
So
yeah. No, it definitely wasn't what I thought it would be, which I thought it'd be poor defense, not poor offense. So
yeah, right.
Here we are.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get these people out of here. What do you say? As always, if you guys will hit us up on Twitter, PTW_pod, Paint the Wall Podcast on Facebook. That's also our Gmail, paintthewallpodcast@gmail.com. And again, new this year, you got to have the @ PTW_pod, same as Twitter, but again, with the @ sign. On YouTube, you can head over and watch us and leave comments and tell us how pretty we are and whatever else you want to talk about. You know?
Sure. Whatever you want.
Awesome. Right on. We appreciate you guys. Logan, I appreciate you as always.
Appreciate you, Steve.
You guys have a good week.
See you guys.